Okay, since it's 5:31, we just need a motion to start the meeting.
I'll make a motion to start the meeting.
Beth, you take that one.
I'll make a motion to start the meeting.
I second that. All in favor? Yes. Maggie?
Amy, aye.
Beth, yes.
So I want to read a couple of things for people in attendance. Welcome to the Board of Health meeting, October 5th, 2021. So in accordance with the Mass General Law, we're required to let you know that the Board of Health is recording this meeting and recording the meeting. If you are, please stop at this point. We will start with our public comment portion of the meeting, where anyone in the public who wants to state anything, it doesn't have to do necessarily with the agenda. We will listen and not respond, but take all your comments and concerns and questions into consideration for future meetings. And you'll have about 5 minutes to speak. Is there anyone who would like to use public? Yep. Sylvie?
Yep, my name's DW. I'm using my partner Sylvie's phone because my phone died. I had spoken with someone previously about the mask mandate in yoga studios specifically.
DW, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah,
You're
please.
on the agenda. So,
Oh, I am, okay.
Yep, you have, there's about 2 agenda items before you, so that way you can have more of a dialogue with the Board of Health. Is that okay?
Totally, and I want to respect your format. I have a class starting at 6, and I'm wondering if there's going to be time between then and now, and if so, should I? What would you like me to do? I guess is my question.
I guess we could approve the minutes later, and then we could. I do want to respect, the agenda because I do have other people here. Maggie, do you have a preference?
I'm going to lower my hand.
Let me look. So I guess, so which you're staying aligned hot yoga or?
I'm not representing any particular studio. I'm just speaking as a private citizen and someone who does practice yoga in Easthampton. Just because I don't want any stupid thing I say to be blowback for someone else. Just because, I'm not a business entity or anything like that. Just a private individual.
Okay, so if you want to just use public comment time, that's fine.
Okay. Then if I am I allowed to have the floor? Then is that okay?
Yes, you are.
All right. Cool. So I'm DW Stratton, he, him pronouns. I live in Chesterfield. I work in Northampton, but I do practice yoga at a studio in Easthampton. I don't want to name any names and get anyone in any hot water in any way. At the studio where I'm practicing, we are required to wear masks during our practice in accordance with Easthampton's mask mandate. And I just wanted to share 2 things. 1, my personal anecdotal experience of that mask mandate, and 2, sort of a question I have broadly. So the individual experience I have had is that we are in a heated room. We are socially distanced 6 feet apart. Nobody at any time faces anyone. The yoga practice is silent. We do not face one another. We face a mirror, all facing forward. We do that for the duration of the practice. And, there's no talking, no exchange of spittle or fluid or anything like that. And we're 6 feet apart, spaced with markers on the floor that keeps us spaced out. And during the hot yoga, you get very, very sweaty. And I'm forgetting to say that we're all fully vaccinated. It's required by the studio, so everyone in the room is fully vaccinated with documentation shown and proven. During hot yoga, you get drenched with sweat because you're in a 104-degree room with about 50 to 60% humidity. And this kind of mask and a cloth mask gets drenched in sweat within 5 minutes and essentially waterboards you to the point where if you lie back, it actually clings to your face and is soaking wet and prevents airflow. And so what ends up happening is individual people are kind of trying to get breaths in, and they're loosening the mask to try to get air in and out anyway. And my personal experience was feeling like I was going to pass out, and then feeling very ill for 24 hours after. My partner, who is a very physically fit, active person and is not normally prone to nausea, threw up on the way home because of how physically ill they felt after it. And so that's my personal anecdote. And then with the remainder of my time, I just want to say, it's my understanding that bars and restaurants are allowed to have people unmasked to eat and drink. And I wonder what the rate of transmission is between people sitting across a table from one another, having conversation over a beer or hot food in a closed, confined space, versus the rate of transmission among people who are socially distanced, not talking, not facing one another, and just trying to practice yoga and be healthy. I understand that bars and restaurants have to be open. Eating is a thing. Socializing is a human thing. Exercise is a human thing too. I'm not talking
That was
about...
funny.
Go ahead.
Amy, I think you're unmuted.
Oh, okay. I thought they were asking a question. I get that it's a human thing. I get the need for socializing. I get the need for going out and eating. I think the need for exercise is a human need as well. We get sick without it. We get diabetes. We become, overweight and out of shape, et cetera, et cetera. And I get that there are some forms of exercise where you are facing people, you are talking, there is an exchange of, potentially spit and aerosolized fluids and this kind of thing. I don't see that that's the case in a yoga studio of the sort that I'm describing. But one other thing I forgot to mention is in this particular studio, there is airflow throughout because there's forced air that's heating the room. So it's not stagnant air. So the air is constantly moving. So that's just my 2 cents. Obviously, I'm one person. I don't expect the Board of Health to kowtow to me. I'm just sharing my experience and asking the question, how come? Because it seems like you'd be more likely to get sick at dinner or over drinks, which are, you can make food and you can drink alcohol in the confines of your home without a mask. You can also practice yoga in the confines of your home without a mask. I'm just wondering why it's the case that unmasked eating and drinking is fine, unmasked yoga would not be. And I guess I'll leave it there. Thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for what you guys are doing. And obviously, everyone wash your hands and stay healthy.
Thank you, Mr. Stratton. Is there anyone else here for public comment if you're not on the current agenda? Okay. So we can proceed to, hang on, I got to pull up the agenda. I think it's the minutes, right, Bree?
Yes.
Yep. All right, everybody, has anybody got any or Amy in the minute from 8/2021?
The audio wasn't great, but you're asking if we have any comments about the minutes?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. The only thing I had was, I'm trying to pull it up right now, the section where, we commented on me abstaining from the vote about the variance due to the fact that I arrived late to the meeting, so I didn't hear I didn't know if we should clarify that more in the minutes, just the reason why I abstained. I'm not sure whether that is relevant, but just, in thinking of the letter and everything else that you sent today about that, wanting to be very clear about why I abstained.
Yeah, we could add something. I mean, Amy, do you have any thoughts about that?
Usually there is in the minutes, there is no clarification for anyone who abstains. If there were a public information request, then sorry about that, guys. If there were a public information request, they could further inquire to that reason.
Okay. That makes sense. I just wasn't sure, so.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. If there are no, I had no concerns with the minutes. I thought they were great.
Yeah, me neither.
That was my only comment.
Okay, so do we want to have a motion to approve the minutes for September 8th, 2021?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for September 8th.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Amy? Yes. Amy?
Amy, yes.
Beth, yes. Big Maggie's frozen.
Oh, darn it. I don't know.
Yeah, Maggie, your connection's not great.
How about now?
A little bit better.
Okay. Okay, so I said yes. Also, there were 3 yeses for the minutes. The next item on the agenda, anything, where is it? Bree, can you?
Yep. So the next agenda item is 40 Church Street, which Mr. Sola is on. I'll just give a brief kind of overview and then I'll have him get into more details. But he owns 40 Church Street, which unfortunately burnt down. I can't remember if it was 2020 or 2019, but he's looking to rebuild that home and he's requesting to occupy an RV as a temporary residence while his home is rebuilt. The state sanitary code requires approval for temporary housing, which an RV falls under the definition of temporary housing, for more than 30 days. So you guys have probably been presented with this before when we've had those requests for tiny homes where there's, issues with tiny homes beyond this, but this request is common for folks that unfortunately lose their home from, some type of disaster like a fire or flood. So I know that he has been in contact with planning already, and then his next step was to come see us, but I have a few comments, but if you want to kind of give an overview yourself, Mr. Sola, I don't know if you're able to unmute, but I'll ask you to, there you go.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. What exactly would I have to add?
I didn't know if you had anything to add. If you don't have anything to add, then I can kind of present to the board with a couple of my comments, and we can kind of go from there, unless you have anything specific to add right now.
Oh, not yet. Not now.
Okay. So I have kind of made preliminary conversations with Mr. Sola about connection to sewer and water, connection to electricity, what the heating source is, and the estimated length of stay. He has, which I sent to you guys via the packet, but he has answered those questions. He has already made contact with DPW, and they said it's okay to hook up to sewer and water as long as a plumber does the work, I believe.
Correct.
The electricity, he has been trying to make contact with the electrical inspector. The heating source it will just need to connect to the old electric on the previous house. Estimated length of stay is 9 to 12 months. The build is backed up on orders 8 months out. And I asked if there's 2 egresses because that just kind of comes to mind when it comes to anything housing related. And he said that there's a main entry in the front and an emergency window exits in the rear. So my comments to the board are, like I said, this is somewhat of a common request. I've seen it before. I would probably just ask that the board give kind of preliminary approval pending some type of sign off from DPW, building, planning, and electrical and plumbing inspectors and the fire inspector to make sure the smoke detectors and CO detectors are okay. And probably put some type of timeline on it just so it doesn't turn into 2-3 years, obviously, because that is not the intent. So those are my kind of initial comments.
I'm sure you hope it's not 2 years.
I'm hoping it's not 2 years.
I mean, I agree with that, Bree. I think it should be contingent on all those departments. So fire, electrical, PW, plumbing, anything else?
Mr. Sola, do you have a timeline on, I think you said you wanted to get in there ASAP. I just, trying to get in touch with 6 other department heads doesn't always happen overnight. So I don't want to hold you up too long. I'll try to get those department heads to prioritize this, but I don't know if it's something that will be done this week because
I've been working for almost a week for the electric to get done because they said they're going to do a temporary post, which will probably be near the RV versus near the house. But as far as the plumbing, it's the Phillips Plumbing from Easthampton that should be taking care of it. But I've just been I haven't done anything yet because I'm just kind of waiting for go ahead. Kind of like I've been waiting for the insurance to give me a go ahead for the house build, and they haven't done that until last week. And right now I'm just pending on the contractor for the home, just like the demolition is supposed to be scheduled 3 months in advance.
Okay.
And is it you in the RV or is it a lot of people?
It's just me. It's not a little RV either. It's plenty of room in there.
So I can send out an email to fire, electrical, plumbing, DPW, planning, and the building department. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. And require, I'll try to, it might be hard for some departments to sign off initially because DPW might not be able to sign off until the plumbing work actually gets done. So we'll just kind of give you kind of like this preliminary approval to get moving on it.
Okay.
If the board agrees. And then I'm thinking maybe just to start, does the board want to do a time frame, maybe 8 months and then revisit, or 12
Yeah,
months?
I was thinking 8 or 9 months. Oh, go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to make a motion to approve the request pending all department head sign-offs for the next 9 months.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Amy?
Amy, yes?
Beth, yes.
Maggie, yes. So in other words, Mr. Sola, if everything goes through as planned, and you'd have to, get in touch with the health department and either come back to us or work with Bree and Brian for the next.
Okay. A lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, and the goal of the Board of Health really is to make sure that the living arrangements that you will have, the temporary living arrangements, are safe and meet the minimum standards of human habitation. So by getting the sign-offs from the other town officials, we can ensure that you're meeting those standards. That's the only reason for that in the motion.
Okay.
And we want you to have a nice new house.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. on Easthampton Church request for approval to continue basing.
Yes, so Miss Rayma Hutchinson is here. I also have Brian here just in the event you have questions, but unfortunately, part of adding staff to the health department means that we are in the field more. So we find things, that have kind of gone unfound in the past. So the food code does require all restaurants and food establishments to have a 3-bay sink for washing, rinsing, and sanitizing. Once in a while, we'll find churches or even restaurants sometimes with only 2-bay sinks. And there is an approval process, and in some events, it's okay to have a 2-bay sink. So that's why Ms. Hutchinson is here. In your packets I sent you, I had asked her to explain, how she would comply with the food code. And so I don't know if Ms. Hutchinson, you want to, speak.
Well, just to say thank you, and thank you for this opportunity to come and speak to you about this. As I'm sure you know, most churches haven't really been fully functioning now for over a year, but even when we're fully functioning, we really don't use our kitchen for very much other than doing things like fellowship, which might require washing a few pitchers and whatnot. We used to do over 80 luncheons, but those people don't want to come out. And when we do, it would be a casserole or something like that. So we have a 2-bay sink. We also have a dishwasher. And I've said that if we had more than 20 or 25, wash stuff, we would use the dishwasher. But this is mostly, it's just some office staff and a few of us who do. Now, I'd like to address the hand washing sink at this point. One of the things is we did due diligence, and we asked Billadu Plumbing about, or Belanger Plumbing, excuse me, for a quote and how it would be possible to put in a 3-bay sink, which we could do, and it would cost upwards of $8,000, something that we don't have. And we also don't have a hand washing sink. We can purchase one, which he suggested, from Gillette for $139. And there is a place to install it. However, trying to get an appointment for the installation and just a quote for how much that would be has really been a slog with the plumber. However, we do currently have an unused soapstone sink that is totally separate from the 2-bay sink, which has hot and cold running water. It's long. We have not used it for anything in the last 6-7 years. And we've put signs on there that is going to be the hand washing station until we can get this other one installed, which we hope to do by the end of the year. But it has been very difficult to schedule people to come in. Any questions?
I'm going to defer to Amy and Bree, because you're the experts for restaurant.
So I'll have Amy if she has a second. But a lot of the times in my experience with approving 2-bay sinks, we kind of base it off of how often they're cooking and what they're doing. And they really are limited, according to Ms. Hutchinson's email. Right. They do a luncheon 2 times a year. They're doing kind of common, like some kind of low key things, soup, salads, cookies, casseroles. So, and I didn't know that they had a dishwasher. So
yes.
And obviously with the dishwasher, I'm sure Amy would go into this a little bit. They go down often. They don't reach temperature often. So we would require, there's a special thermometer that's required.
Yes, thermometer. Brian told me about that.
Yep, so we would,
Yeah.
require logs of that and everything. But Amy, did you want to interject on some stuff? I know you've got some expertise on this.
Yeah. Hi, Mrs. Hutchinson. Thank you for coming in today or joining us today. I think, do you have your dishwasher regularly serviced by, like usually it's K Labs or Eco Lab?
No, we haven't actually done like anything in the last 2 years. Hardly at all. And to be honest with you, right now, this current year, and I told this to Brian when he came in, we had boiler issues. So we concentrated all our effort and all of our available funds to fix our boiler, which cost $15,000.
Wow. So, do you know if your dishwasher is a hot water or maybe Brian will know this, if it's a hot water or a chemical dishwasher?
Because I don't know.
Brian?
Hi, I believe it is a chemical dishwasher.
Okay.
It's chemical. Okay. So if we haven't used it in 2 years, it's probably those chemicals are out of date. So I would suggest that, and I don't know how I'm going to talk out loud for the moment, but
Okay.
if prior to resuming food preparation in the kitchen, so like I know you said you haven't been open in 2 years, you have the dishwasher service, and you provide the health department with the record of that. That way we know that it's been looked at, the lines are clear, the water's coming in the way it's supposed to, the chemicals are within date. In addition to that, if you create, and Bree or Brian can get you this, it's just a log that says you've checked it. So before you use it, you would go ahead and just check it. So you'd say gathering on 10:15, dishwasher within, you would put the ppm of the chemical. So I don't know what kind of chemicals it's using, if it's chlorine. And then if not, that you have a plan that you've provided, Bree. And I don't see that in the documents that you've provided, like how you will run the two-bay sink. So I'd want to see something like we'd scrape all excess debris off the items. Then we would wash them and then rinse and sanitize in the, and I'm sure Bree can even give you a plan or Bree or Brian can give you a plan that would be appropriate. But I don't see how we can't make this work. What I would like to see is redundancies in place. So making sure that dishwasher is usable and meets the code, and then having the two-bay sink just be your backup should that dishwasher not be working makes a lot more sense to me. And the second thing I'd like to say is if you want to save the money on the hand washing sink and use that soapstone sink as your designated hand washing sink, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, okay, that would be great. It's like getting a ring.
Any sink that you designate as a hand washing sink, as long as it gets hot and cold water, you can put paper towels by it, and has soap, can be labeled your hand washing sink. There's no need to get something new if something exists. Unless there's something, Brian, that I can't see in this photo that you feel would exempt that.
Oh, no, I 100% agree with the setup that I observed when I did the inspection. As long as they just need to put paper towels and soap and the proper hand wash signage, and as long as it's designated, that should be fine.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
It looks really long, so maybe a couple signs, one on either end.
We'll have a lot of signs. We're really good at making signs.
Great. So I think both of these things are are doable. It's just about setting the proper procedures in place. So if you want to work directly with Brian and Bree to come up with that plan, and they approve it by the food code, I'll make a motion to allow this exemption planning approval by Bree and Brian.
Can I ask you just a quick question before you vote on it?
Oh, sure.
It's just a question. Who would service the dishwasher?
It's whoever you have chemicals in it. So there's K, there's Ecolab.
Oh, I know Ecolabs. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I will do some investigation.
Yeah, there's probably a sticker on it. And honestly, any of those companies, even if they haven't previously been responsible for your dishwasher, they'll come and just set up a new contract with you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and yeah, that would, because really that would be the appropriate place, even for smaller events, to sanitize those items. The 3-bay sink is, used in backup or for larger material, like things that maybe won't fit. And I don't think you have anything like that in your establishment.
No, I mean, we've really used disposables, paper plates. I mean, we haven't, and I mean, we just don't foresee with the Delta variant, we don't foresee going back to even anything near normal for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Sad, but we appreciate, I just want to say it, we appreciate the Board of Health and their mandates and how careful they're being for the citizens. I want to say that as an individual and on behalf of my board.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, I will work on all that.
Actually do motion again so that Jackie's got it.
Oh, sure. I make a motion to approve, I don't know, is it listed as a variance, Bree?
It's actually not considered a variance in the food code. All it is just approval.
Yeah, it's just an approval. So I make a motion to approve the use of the 2-bay sink with the church's agreement to get the dishwasher service before they resume food service out of that kitchen, and a plan that's approved by Brian or Bree for proper use of a 2-bay.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, Amy?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Maggie? Great.
Thank you. I'll follow up with a letter.
Okay.
As soon, maybe it might not be till next week, but that will kind of outline what we talked about tonight, and we'll go from there. But thank you.
Okay, good. In the meantime, I'll find somebody to service the dishwasher. You can wait until you start. Wait until you start food service, because if you service it now and you don't do food service for the next 9 months, it's not gonna. It's gonna go back. Then they'll all be out of date again. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a calibration issue, so they make sure the right amount of chemicals are going in. So definitely just wait until you know, we're gonna start.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you. You've all been so extremely helpful. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye. I got another Zoom meeting.
Thank you.
Yay me.
So it looks like next was Tracy Davis for staying on Spot Yoga meeting.
Yeah, she emailed me yesterday and said that she couldn't make this time. So I did see her log in real quick when we first started, but she's not here. I offered to put her on the November agenda. I'm just waiting to hear back from her. So I think we'll just have to skip over for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maggie, I think you're. Oh, I was gonna say you're.
Am I frozen? Am I frozen again? Oh, God.
Yeah, the audio is a little choppy too.
If you want me to just continue, Maggie, I can until you're up and running again.
That's a good idea, Bree.
Now.
Okay. So The next part of the agenda is the variance language that we recreated for the city ordinance for the single-use plastic bags and food containers and straws. So I sent this prior to the meeting to everyone and to Counselor Zaret as well, and he did not have any issues with it. I think he still had to bring it to subcommittee, but I think that it already got past that. So I looked at different codes from housing, pools, camps, everything, and looked at their variance sections to kind of get an idea. So I can read it real quick. So the Board of Health may, but is not required to grant a variance after receiving a variance request in writing. The board may approve variances on a permanent basis or temporary basis until the applicant can come into full compliance. To request a variance, applicants will be required to submit in writing which section of the ordinance they are requesting a variance on, and applicants shall articulate the following. The enforcement of the ordinance as written would do manifest injustice, which is a common phrase that boards of health are used to from codes. And basically manifest injustice is defined as something which is obviously unfair or shocking to the conscience. It's unfairness that is direct, obvious, and observable. Or the applicant provides documentation that there's no readily available compliant substitute. This is one of the examples that Counselor Zaret gave where the little salsa and sour cream cups, a restaurant in town couldn't find anything similar or anything that complied with the compostable section. So that could be, example. Or the applicant has proved that the same degree of environmental protection can be achieved without strict application of a particular section of the ordinance. I put some asterisks on this because that's common language in some of our regulations, but I'm not sure that that can be achieved in this case if someone doesn't apply to the ordinance, because the ordinance is so brief, it's kind of hard not to achieve the same degree of environmental protection if you don't comply. So those are just some of my notes, but that's the variance language that we recreated.
I just want to confirm that the definition will be included in the language of the ordinance.
Manifest injustice?
Yes.
That's a good point. I didn't have that, but I can let Counselor Zaret know.
Yeah, I think at the start, I don't remember if he had definitions at the start of the ordinance, but typically anything like that should be clearly defined. That way, if we approve or deny it, we have something very clearly to go back to as to why it was approved or denied.
Okay. Yeah, no, there are definitions at the beginning, so that would be a good place to put it.
Great, thank you. Otherwise, I thought it was perfect.
Do you think we should keep that last part? The applicant has proved the same degree of environmental protection without strict application of particular section of the ordinance. I mean, I guess that's on the applicant's requirement to prove to you guys.
I do think we should keep it because there are so many new products coming out with different, they can make it out of composted food, right? And it may, I don't know if I don't really know all of these, I don't know, I feel old at this point, but all these new things that are coming out. But I think leaving it in there allows for some leeway.
Okay.
It also clearly outlines our expectations that they, are finding these on their own and they're presenting them to us, versus just coming and saying, we can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys need to make a motion. I mean, I guess you might as well, but, and I can let Counselor Zaret know that it is all set on our end.
Okay,
Yeah,
can you guys
I'm happy.
can you hear me
Go ahead,
now?
Maggie.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, go ahead. I'll make a motion to, put into place the variance for, what is it called? The plastic bags. Hang on. Let me start over.
Or we would just be, I think we're just approving the language of the variance.
Yeah.
Something.
Make a motion to approve the language of the variance for prohibition of single-use plastic bags, disposable food containers, and straws.
I will
Anybody wanna
second
second
that
that?
motion. I'll second that.
Great. All in favor? Amy,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Maggie, yes.
Okay, so the next section is the COVID-19 update from me, and we're going to keep this on our agenda moving forward just because of the mask order. We have agreed to, look at the data each meeting. One thing I wanted to bring up with this is I know that the school, DESE, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, has, I believe, put a new deadline of November 1st. For 80% of if 80% of the students, or I think the entire school district, is vaccinated, then DESE is saying masks can be removed, but because the board has an order right now, our order would obviously supersede. I told the superintendent that I'd bring that up at our meeting. We don't have to make a decision now. I personally don't think, heading into the holiday season and cooler months, that we should be lifting the mandate. I think, it's just really hard with going into the holiday season right now to be thinking about that. But I was going to share my screen to just show you the graphs that I sent to you, or if you want to just discuss them based off of the email I sent, it's up to you guys.
It would.
Are we?
Go ahead, Amy.
I can't hear. Is it just okay? I'm going. Are we talking specifically right now about the graph and the state of Easthampton, or are we talking about the school specifically? I just want to make sure I'm responding to the specific.
Kind of just both. It was kind of just a general update about I don't think we're at a point right now to make a decision about the 80% mask thing. I think I was going to add that to the November agenda. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that that's kind of coming down the road.
Yeah, I think maybe, and I don't know how the other board members feel, but ensuring the superintendent that, we are happy to continue to work with them on what they think is best in their building, and that as soon as the health metrics indicate that removing masks within the schools are safe, that we will happily make that motion. And we can even make, if it's going to be a break until our next meeting, that we will happily schedule a sooner meeting just to address that if we're open to it, we are keeping an eye on the metrics, and we will discuss it as the situation changes. It's a fluid situation.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. And like we said when we were discussing the mask mandate, it's a lot easier to, stop it than to put one in place. And I feel like once we start pulling away, it's just going to make it more complicated. So.
Yep, I agree. And, the variant, it's so new. We don't know how it's going to continue to vary. So, yeah, I agree with keeping the masks in place. So do we need to vote on that too, Bree, or?
No, I think
it was just Allison's request.
Yeah, Allison just brought it up this week. I think I'll add it to the November agenda because our next meeting is November 2nd. So if I believe it's November 1st that DESE extended their mask mandate in schools until, and then if they have 80% vaccination rate, they can take them off, which I think that they will have by then. But because we have the city order, it would supersede that. But
Bree, can
I don't wanna
you
assume-
confirm for me whether it's 80% of the school district or 80% of a building?
I'm pretty sure it's the building.
It sounded from her email that it's the building.
Yes, because
Okay,
she mentions
good.
she mentions the high school a lot, which obviously has a
Higher.
higher chance of being 80% with the 16-year-olds.
Okay, great,
So.
thanks.
Did you want me to share my screen to look at the graphs, or do you guys feel okay with?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. I'm gonna do just a general update. I'm gonna pause for 1 second to text the owner of Tavern on the Hill. She wanted me to text her when we were almost ready because she had to do as late as possible. So let me just send her this text and say that we're almost ready for her. About 5 minutes out. Okay, so an update. I am going to be off October 24th to October 30th. I will not be available. I'm working with the CTC right now. They're going to cover me as much as possible. I may have to log in every day just to send cases to the CTC, but I'm going to be out.
Actually, Bree.
Yeah.
Bree, you don't need to do that. If you call the FB line tomorrow,
Yeah.
and you explain to them that you're going out of town, they can automatically, for that time frame, set your cases to automatically go to the CTC.
Okay. Yeah. Because when we lost Amy, we asked them to do that like permanently, and I don't think I don't think they would accommodate permanently, but if they'll do it for a week. I'm meeting with my CTC liaison tomorrow, who's awesome. So hopefully
Well,
I can do that.
it's not them. It's DPH. It's a DPH end setting, not the CTC.
Okay. So call the
So like
FB
Scott.
line?
Yeah, or just email Scott and ask him to set it up for you.
Okay, just for that time period specifically?
Correct. Yep. Say that you're going out of the country, and there's no one else in the department due to a gap in nursing services.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Brian and I will be at the MHOA conference October 20th and 21st. So that's a Wednesday, Thursday of that week. Brian got the scholarship. So that's good. His is going to be completely paid for, which is a big expense, for our training budget wise. So I'm excited that he'll be able to go to that. I met with the finance subcommittee last week to ask to reclassify our nurse position because the pay is just not where other communities are. And our position's been posted, I think, since July, and we've had no applicants. We just got 2 applicants a week and a half ago. But it's not just about attracting people, it's about retaining people. So they were in approval of that. It goes officially to City Council tomorrow. So hopefully that goes through. I don't see why, we would run into any issues. I also presented our proposed community social worker position, which is going to be funded through ARPA dollars right off the bat. And then it's eventually we're going to have to work it into our general fund budget. And they were also in very supportive of that position as well. A couple things. I don't see Amy yet. Amy from Tavern on the Hill. So we'll jump to the items not reasonably anticipated. I see Mr. O'Neill here. I don't know if he's just listening in or if I don't know if he would even be allowed to speak outside of public speak, but I did want to just mention that Mr. O'Neill is the attorney for 359 Main Street, the Hampton East Condo Trust, and they have requested that we...
I'm just listening, just observing.
Okay, great, thanks. They have requested that we reopen the public hearing to rehear some of their they wanted to have a well driller come and who has 50 years experience, I think they cited, to testify. And so Mr. O'Neill officially requested that in writing, which I sent to you. Our attorney is just recommending that we do that. So there's a tolling agreement, and I may botch this because I'm not an attorney, but basically they have 60 days to appeal our decision. But because, we only meet every month and it wasn't on the agenda in time this time around, that we have to go until November to vote to reopen the public hearing and then have the actual public hearing in December. So the mayor is the sole authority that can sign that agreement, basically saying that it's okay if we go beyond the 60 days for the appeal process. So Attorney Tanner asked me to just kind of advise you of that today, unless anyone on the board is really against doing this. I can let Attorney Tanner know, but he did recommend that we do that process. So I wanted to bring that up. Does anyone on the board have any comments about that?
Not right now.
Okay. So I believe it will be on our agenda in November to officially vote on it. We can't vote on it tonight because it wasn't, we weren't notified before the agenda was posted. So we'll officially vote on it in November. We'll have it in December if it works for everybody.
Wait, Bree, I don't know. So you're saying we have to re-vote even though we all voted?
Yes, because I guess I'm assuming as a courtesy, because Mr. O'Neill's clients weren't aware of the meeting, and
I don't think we're under any legal obligation to notify them. I mean, if we're following the law, so why are we doing this? I mean, did our attorney say we?
I think the point for this vote is that the people in the condo association, it wasn't officially on the agenda.
No, it was. It was
It was officially on the agenda. The agenda was officially posted.
Right.
And met all open meeting law requirements. If they didn't know that it was happening, then, it's not our obligation to inform them.
No, I agree.
And second of all, the information that we received from both of the town officials that were present was so overwhelmingly clear that there's nothing that I think we're going to hear that's going to change personally, it's not going to change my mind. The advice that we got was so clear and concise. It's a bad idea. And to reopen it and to re-vote because they didn't know it was happening is not our responsibility.
But is that the only reason for the appeal?
I mean,
I saw the affidavit, but the primary reason was because people didn't know about the meeting.
And that's not our responsibility.
No, I agree with you, Amy. I was just pointing. Never mind. I retract.
Well, I have a question. What you said that, Bree, you asked our attorney and he suggested, did he say why he thinks we should?
The only thing I can think of is if we accommodate the other side by allowing the well driller to speak. So I'm not an attorney, but based on what I know, you always have the defense can speak and the plaintiff can speak. And so if they don't feel like they were properly represented or they didn't have all of their.
But why weren't they? It sort of goes to.
That's not our problem. Their well driller could have come last time. It's not our problem. We voted. If we didn't post properly or there was any error on our end, I would be all for revoting and giving them their due diligence and following the letter of the law.
Well,
we
Amy,
posted the meeting.
That the public hearing wasn't technically closed. I rewatched the video. So that was one thing. I don't know if that.
So we can put it on the agenda next month as closing a public meeting. That doesn't mean that we need to hear more information than we've already heard.
I
don't hear anything that makes me want to re-vote on this.
I guess I would like to talk to Attorney Tanner and, just to make sure that we cover all bases. And, it doesn't have, whatever process that has to happen for that. I just want to make sure that all I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I feel like we've done that. But if the attorney feels otherwise, and I defer to our city solicitor.
Yeah.
But in the absence of us not completing this the way it was supposed to have been done, I see no need to put it back on our agenda.
I hear you. I just think.
Well, let's just talk to Attorney Tanner and kind of get a more comprehensive reason as to why he was recommending what he was. And then we can make a more educated decision. Because I hear what Amy's saying, but I want to make sure that we're not missing anything.
Yeah. So I'll talk with Attorney Tanner tomorrow. He did tell me today, because this didn't make it onto the agenda, that this was mostly just an advisement and that the mayor is the authority that would sign on to this tolling agreement, which again, basically says that we understand that the 60-day appeal process might not be met. Molly, come here. So before anything gets signed, I will talk with Attorney Tanner tomorrow. This kind of just happened fast and with the meeting tonight and stuff. So I only really went back and forth with Attorney Tanner a couple times today. So before anything gets signed, I will notify you guys of what's going on.
Okay. And maybe he could send us, an email, or we could schedule some kind of 15-minute meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
Just so we're all.
Yeah, I would personally like to be really clear on why we need to reopen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I notifying the other parties is not a requirement. I think it's a courtesy. So I think that if I hear you, Amy, but I just, like I said, I just want to, like Maggie said, I want to cross our T's and dot our I's. But I hear you on it. So if there's
okay.
Anything else? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to say, is Tavern on the Hill? No, I don't see her.
I don't see them yet. They told me that it was going to be difficult for them to get here in general. I was hoping they got here so we could, get the 2-bay sink thing out of the way, but we'll have to invite them to the next meeting. I did want to give you guys a quick update that Brian did all of Captain Jack's inspections for that 3-month period, and he actually saw a really great improvement.
Right.
So
Good.
it's exciting. Yeah. So I feel good about that. So
that's awesome. See, that's what happens. That's what happens when we have public health staffing to be able to do these things for the first time in a long time, is we're able to actually make qualitative improvements to the safety of the food that's served in this town. I think, that's one example of this, but I think, Bree, you and Brian have really elevated the safety of the food that is being served in this community. And I think that's fantastic. And as a resident of this community, I appreciate that greatly.
Thank you. And thanks to Brian. Brian did an awesome job getting out there each month, which is not easy with our schedule. So. Alrighty, so
and great job to Captain Jack for stepping up and taking the recommendations and following through, because it's one thing to be told that something isn't right, and it's another thing to make the adjustments. So I'm really grateful that he took our advice and was able to make those adjustments.
Yep. So I think that's it. Our next meeting is November 2nd at 5:30.
Okay. Make sure you tell everybody.
Make sure to tell everyone this time. That was, it sucks because I always do. it's once in a while, these things slip by you.
Oh, I was just kidding. Bree.
No, I know, but it's just frustrating because it's like out of all the times something's gonna slip by, but well, I will send everyone an email before I leave for vacation because I am gonna be out of the country. So I'm gonna try to, St. Martin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You're early this year going.
Yeah, well, we kind of made a pact to travel differently because we've always just done softball trips and we always end up in the same place in Florida every year. So we took a break from softball to actually travel, so somewhere else for once. So there's the doggy. Oh gosh, still crazy.
Oh, well, not as bad, but he's been sleeping all day because I don't know. So now he's awake.
Well, thank you. I know it's kind of a long meeting, but we'll
6:30, an hour. All right, so we need to make a motion to close.
Now that the lights are coming on. I will make a motion to close the meeting.
At 6:31 p.m.
At 6:31 p.m. Sorry.
That's okay. All in favor? Yes, Maggie. Amy.
Yes, Amy. Yes, Amy.
Beth.
Yes, Beth.
Okay. All right. Great job, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.